do the Mangala Archanam.
Sorry?
I can do the Mangala Archanam.
Yes, okay.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Ganangana Sharakaya Chakshuran Malitam Dina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swad Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragana Tam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sayatam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Lalita Shiva Shakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namoste Tapta Kancha Oh yeah. Antrakalpa Tarubasta Kripa Sindhuva Evacha Patitanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnav Ebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. You can hear me all right?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you well. Thank you very much for doing the Mangalacharan. And we are now reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is Further Inquiries by Vidura, and we are on Text 9 today. So over to you, Prabhuji, Text 9.
Is it possible someone can put the verse to see?
Bhakta Mogo?
If not, sorry. But better if we have it. Maitreya Uvacha Shayam Bhagavato Maya Yannayena Virujate Ishvarasya Vimuktasya Karpanyam Uta Bandhana. You can chant, please.
Maitreya Uvacha, Maitreya said, Saiyam, such a statement, Bhagavata, of the personality of Godhead, Maya, illusion, Yat, that which, Nayana, by logic, Virudyate, becomes contradictory, Ishvarasya, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vimuktasya, of the ever liberated, Karpanyam, insufficiency, Uta, as also. What to speak of? Bandhanam, bondage.
Translation and purport by ISKCON BBT founder Acharya His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Translation: Sri Maitreya said certain conditioned souls put forward the theory that the Supreme Brahman, or the personality of Godhead, is overcome by illusion or Maya, and at the same time they maintain that he is unconditioned. This is against all logic. So this is a rather long purport. I'll read the first paragraph, and someone else can read the other. Sometimes it appears that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is 100% spiritual, cannot be the cause of the illusory potency which covers the knowledge of the individual soul. But factually, there is no doubt that the illusory external energy is also part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. When Vyasadeva realized the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he saw the Lord along with his external potency, which covers the pure knowledge of the individual souls. Why the external energy acts in this way may be considered as follows, as analyzed by great commentators like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Jiva Goswami. Although the material illusory energy is distinct from the spiritual energy, it is one of the many energies of the Lord, and thus the material modes of nature, the mode of goodness, etc., are surely qualities of the Lord. The energy and the energetic personality of Godhead are not different, and although such energy is one with the Lord, he is never overpowered by it. Although the living entities are also parts and parcels of the Lord, they are overcome by the material energy. The inconceivable yogam Aishvaram of the Lord, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, is misunderstood by the froggish philosophers. In order to support a theory that Narayan, the Lord himself, becomes a Darija Narayan, or a poor man, they propose that the material energy overcomes the Supreme Lord. Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, however, offer a very nice example in explanation. They say that although the sun is all light, the clouds, darkness, and snowfall are all part and parcel of the sun, because without the sun, there is no possibility of the skies being overcast with clouds or darkness, nor can there be snowfall on the earth. Although life is sustained by the sun, life is also disturbed by darkness and snowfall produced by the sun. But it is also a fact that the sun itself is never overcome by darkness, clouds, or snowfall. The sun is far, far away from such disturbances. Only those who have a poor fund of knowledge say that the sun is covered by a cloud or by darkness. Similarly, the Supreme Brahman or the Parabrahman, the personality of Godhead, is always unaffected by the influence of the material energy, although it is one of his energies. Someone else can read.
There is no reason to assert that the Supreme Brahman is overpowered by the illusionary energy. The clouds, darkness, and snowfall can cover only a very insignificant portion of the sun's rays. Similarly, the mode of material nature may react upon the ray-like living entities. It is the misfortune of the living entity, certainly not without reason, that the influence of the material energy acts on his pure consciousness and eternal bliss. This covering up of the pure consciousness and eternal bliss is due to avidya karma samjya, the energy which acts on the infinitesimal living entities who misuse their minute independence. According to Vishnu Purana, Bhagavad Gita, and all other Vedic literature, the living entities are generated from the Shakti energy of the Lord, and thus they are always the energy of the Lord and are not the energetic. The living entities are like the sun rays. Although, as explained above, there is no qualitative difference between the sun and its rays. The sun's rays are sometimes overpowered by another energy of the sun, namely by the clouds or by snowfall. Similarly, although the living entities are qualitatively one with the superior energy of the Lord, they have the tendency to be overpowered by inferior material energy. In the Vedic hymns, it is said that the living entities are like a spark of fire. The sparks of fire also are fire, but the burning potency of the sparks is different from that of the original fire. When the sparks fly out of touch with the original fire, they come under the influence of non-fiery atmosphere. Thus, they maintain the potency to be again one with the fire as sparks, but not as the original fire. The sparks can everlastingly remain within the original fire as it sparks and passes, but the moment the sparks become separated from the original fire, their misfortunes and miseries begin. The clear conclusion is that the Supreme Lord, who is the original fire, is never overpowered by the infinitesimal sparks of the fire, can become overpowered by the illusionary effect of Maya. It is the most ludicrous argument to say that the Supreme Personality is overpowered by his own material energy. The Lord is the master of all material energy, but the living entities are in the conditional state, controlled by the material energy. That is the version of Bhagavad Gita. The froggish philosophers who put forward the argument that the Supreme Lord is overpowered by the material mode of goodness are themselves illusioned by the same material energy. Although they think of themselves as liberated souls, they support their arguments by a false and laboriously jugglery of words, which is the gift of same illusionary energy of the Lord. But the poor froggish philosophers, due to the false sense of knowledge, cannot understand the situation. Is there anybody who would like to read the last?
Hare Krishna, may I try?
Yes, please.
In the 6th canto, 9th chapter, 34th verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated, Dura vabdho iva savayam vihara yoga yad asarano sa shariraidam anavikshitam matsamya vaya atmanaiva vikriyamanena sagunam agunaha Tejasvi pasi harasi. Thus the demigods prayed to the Supreme Lord that although his activities are very difficult to understand, they can still be understood to some extent by those who sincerely engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The demigods admitted that although the Lord is apart from the material influence or creation, he nevertheless creates, maintains, and annihilates the complete cosmic manifestation by the agency of the demigod. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. And the text again, Sri Maitreya said, certain conditioned souls put forward the theory that the Supreme Brahman or the personality of Godhead is overcome by illusion or Maya, and at the same time they maintain that he is unconditioned. This is against all logic. It is a very philosophical text, theological text, long purport. The Srila Prabhupada and the previous Vaishnava Acharyas speak at length, especially because it is a specific intent, ongoing intent of the Vaishnava Sampradaya to defeat and oppose these impersonal and voidist theologies. Anything which opposes bhakti. And our Srila Prabhupada is especially dedicated, as was his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, to proactively take every opportunity to attack and defeat the Nirvisesha Shunyavadi theologies, because they're so destructive, violent. They bring violence, they breed violence, they breed abuse, which is violent, and destroy the potential for breaking free from the cycle of birth and death. So it's not no small potatoes, as they say. It's not just these kind of debates. It's not just two pundits or some pundits and they're just debating some interesting points. No, this goes to the very, very root of whether people take up bhakti or are interested in bhakti, Krishna bhakti or not. It goes to the very root, the very foundation, the very deciding factor that greatly influences everyone's choices, what people value, what they decide to do, what they decide not to do. As we have discussed before, although people may not think about it, adults may not think about it very often, at some point we all adopt a certain philosophy of life, theology of life, a view of reality that we learn or accept from different sources. and accept when life is not going well. If life is seems to be going okay, then why think about anything deep? But when the going gets rough, everyone calls out to God, "Oh God," or they think that what's going on? So the Vaishnava devotees, acharyas, it is part of their career path to take every opportunity. It is said about Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. He was he was called the Nrsimha Guru. And these people who have these kinds of philosophies, they would cross the other side of the street most of the time because they didn't want to debate with him. He would rip them to shreds on the basis of the Vedic scriptures. So Srila Prabhupada is, as a first-class disciple, is carrying that on. And it is our responsibility, as far as we may be capable or interested, to also do this. Whoever we may be speaking to, a gathering of relatives or somewhere, the person we're talking to may not agree with you, but everyone who's listening, they will think. So that's something to remember. It may not be that this person will vocally acknowledge, "Oh yeah, I think you're right," but maybe the other people, either their own Krishna bhakti will be strengthened, or they may change their mind and, "No, this thing I've been thinking, it is mistaken." So this theology is described in the text that some people say that God is overcome by illusion, which as soon as we hear that, it's just such a silly thing to say. Ridiculous. And at the same time, they maintain that he is unconditioned, that he is above all, everything. It's weird. But we see that we humans, we can think strange things. Someone drinks alcohol and they're driving, and the car is in the middle of the road, half on one side of the dividing line, or half one side of the two-way road. And it just doesn't click. There's no cognition. It's just everyone else is scared to death. What is this idiot doing? So we see that we humans can think all kinds of things that don't connect with reality. I'm not sure I want to call it a capability, but I guess it is. We can think bizarre things or not think at all. So there's some theologists, philosophers, specifically where this is connecting to this Shankara Acharya, who appeared in I think it was the 8th century. And he put forward on the basis of the Vedas a whole presentation that God, that we're all God, as Srila Prabhupada points out here. Where is that? The inconceivable yogam Aishwaram of the Lord, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, is misunderstood by the froggish philosophers in order to support a theory that Narayan becomes Dharija Narayan, a poor man. They propose that the material energy overcomes the Supreme, or the goat is God, or the buffalo is God. What's the difference if I eat the goat? Goat God is in my stomach God, so it's all Brahman. Wow, What a great philosophy, right? Who won't go for that? What's the, and that's the thing. I mean, people go for things that generally that are more immediately pleasing. Why can't I have a relationship with any man I want? He's God, I'm God, it's all God. What a wonderful theology. Wow. Maybe I should adopt it. We may remember from the Bhagavad Gita, in the 14th chapter, Lord Krishna explains the modes of nature, how we're pure, but we fall down and then we associate with different modes of nature and we become conditioned. And then in the 17th chapter, Arjuna asks, what is the position of those who worship someone other than you? What is that? And so then Lord Krishna explained basically the same thing, that it's because they're influenced by, their mind is Rajagun, Tamagun. And so they think all kinds of crazy things. That's all. Just like someone who drinks and they're driving, they're just crazy, intoxicated. So I think Srila Prabhupada touches, here in the purport he says, it is the misfortune of the living entity, certainly not without a reason, that the influence of the material energy acts on this pure consciousness. So I mean, it's not completely without some thinking. Shankaracharya and these different pundits, and even more recently in the late 19th century, there was Ramakrishna, and there was another main so-called Hindu spiritual teacher. But this is what came to the West. This is what came to Europe. This is what came to America. We're all God. So it's a misfortune of the living entity, certainly not without reason. So I mean that's a very, so Shankaracharya, he said that, well, we're all God. And then someone may say, well, if we're all God, then how come we're doing stupid stuff? And so he said that's because God is overcome by illusion. So someone may say, well, why would he do that? Because Shankaracharya is well known to be, brilliant Vedic scholar, brilliant intelligence, a great logician, brahmachari. So how is that? And same reason. Well, not exactly the same, because we find in the Padma Purana that it's explained, I believe it's Padma Purana, somewhere in the Purana, that Lord Vishnu directly instructed to Lord Shiva to manifest an incarnation in order to fulfill the desires, the sinful desires, to give a passport to the sinful-minded living entities of the world who want that. Well, that's not very nice. Why would God try it? Why would God allow that? Why would God arrange? Well, because that's what we want. That's what we want. Then we could ask them, how is it that we're in this material world at all? Let's just take it back a whole bunch of steps. Is God unkind? Is Krishna cruel that he lets, do we let our children touch fire? Do we let them? Not small children, of course. Although we may let our, with being in the background, we may let our child put their hand near fire. Or even a slowly spinning fan. Let them touch it. Yeah, go ahead, touch it. See what happens. But older children or adults, just like we do, we tell our friend, we suggest to our friend, to our husband, to our wife, I really don't think you should do that. I really don't think you should do that. And they do it anyway. We have free will. And so our son or daughter, or someone may say, I want to go live this place. No, it'll be so hard for you. But because we love them, all right, I'll pay 1 year rent, then it's on you. Because we love them. And we're thinking, well, they'll learn the hard way, I guess. And so it is the same between our Supreme Father and ourselves. He has free will, and so do we, and he will not cross that. That's just the way it is. What are we going to do to our son or daughter? Put them in chains, put them in the house? You can't, you don't do that. All right, guess you're going to learn the hard way. So to fulfill the desires of sinful living entities, Lord Shiva was instructed that you spread this atheistic, crazy theology. And there was another reason. If you look at it historically, that prior to the 800s, 8th century, the Vedic Hinduism, you can call it Hinduism, or the Vedic spirituality was largely Buddhistic. There was a great, great influence of Buddhism, which is Voidistic, and it does not accept the Vedas. It does not reference the scripture. The Brahmins, what I'm saying is that the Brahmins, the intelligentsia, they were greatly influenced by the Buddha's teachings, which is awful because it broke the authority of the Vedas. So one part of Krishna's plan was that you teach this atheism, but on the basis of the Vedas, so that people get trust and confidence in the Vedas again. See? Multiple step process. Very intelligent. And then in the 11th, 12th century, then the great Vaishnava logicians, theologians, Srila Ramanujacharya first, and then Srila Madhvacharya, then they began convincing the Brahmins, such people, that no, this Shankara theology, it has so many holes, it is ridiculous concepts. No. And they did that on the basis of the Vedic scripture. So then connected back to the Vedas. And so that's a big step up. And also Bhakti flourished in South India and then North India after the 11th century, reflourished. So it's a big plan, big plan. And then, then again, as I said, in the 19th century, there were a few different famous Hindu spiritual leaders who revived and really promoted. And also they did, and to their credit, I mean, there's no criticism there. So much great social work, feeding people and education. And who doesn't like that? If it has to do with the material body and the material world, you're loved. You are appreciated. I don't care what Swami says. He's doing so. And that's how some people, maybe some of you have met people of Indian ethnicity that, don't say anything bad about them people, those spiritual leaders. I mean, they feed so many people and they help women and they help cows and they don't say anything bad about them. It's a sentiment. I mean, it's understandable, but it's sentimental. It's just like in Russia, the communists, long time ago, they were telling people, don't listen to that God. There's no God. Here we are with his truck. It's full of bread. Take bread. We are giving the bread. And the kind of, I mean, not to criticize, but a little less than deep thinking people were like, okay, all right, yeah, there's no God. You're the one giving. But where's the grain come from? Where's the rain come from? there's all types of humans. There really are. I mean, it's not that anyone should be disrespected or they're not eligible to be respected and appreciated. And there's some people who can do math very quickly in their head. Some people who can't. Some people who can lift 150 kilograms, and there's some people who can't lift 10 kilograms. These are differences. Women can give babies. Men can't. It's not a value judgment, necessarily. It's just a statement of fact. So some people are a little slow thinking. Oh yeah, you're giving the bread. And the same with this philosophy, you're God, I'm God, the wine is God. Sure, okay. That's all. That's all. And it's sometimes good to know this, that it helps us to understand how there could be so much hate, because there's so many humans, there's so many different levels of cognitive ability. That's all. Lord Krishna speaks about this in Bhagavad Gita. It really does require a certain degree of above average cognitive ability and piety to understand God in truth as far as we can. So, Srila Prabhupada speaks at length defeating this idea. And the example that he's quoting, I don't remember this example. I think it's very good. That about, who is that? He quotes Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti. And, oh, here it is. However, they offer a very nice example that although the sun is all light, the clouds, darkness, and snowfall are all part and parcel of the sun. And for clarification, we may say indirectly. Indirectly. Without the sun, there's no possibility of the skies being overcast with clouds. That's true, isn't it? Because the clouds evaporate the water, and then there's clouds. Or darkness, because the sun goes away. Or shadows. There can't be shadows without the sun, right? So, like you're standing behind a big tree, and then the sunlight is blocked. But there's no question of light or darkness without the sun. Although life is sustained by the sun, life is also disturbed by the darkness and snowfall produced by the sun, indirectly. But it is, or we might say, a corollary effect. But it is also a fact that the sun itself is never overcome by those things. So that's a very good example. Similarly, the example is given that the sun is always there, even if it's a cloudy day, right? When we go on the plane and it's very cloudy, kind of dark, and you go up above the clouds, bright sunlight. So the sun is always there. It doesn't change because there's clouds or snowfall or shadows or anything. But those things could not exist without the sun. I mean, how complicated is that? Even as we have discussed before, like a cow. The cow gives the milk, you're drinking the milk comes from the cow. In one sense, the milk is the cow, but we don't have a cow in our hand. And the cow is over there chewing grass and we're drinking the milk. The milk may not even agree with our digestive system, but that has nothing to do with the cow. But the cow, in one sense, is a cause of the indigestion. As just a potential corollary effect. So there it is. So that's very nice. So we may explain that to someone. Someone who's like, yatamat, tatamat, everything is the same, we're all God. Yeah, and so we shouldn't disagree. So we say yes. And in the sense that everything is the energy. And then we give the milk and the cow is over there. And they may agree or they may not. What can we do? It depends on their cognitive ability and their cultural background, different emotional considerations going on. Although one thing to keep in mind we experience in life. That we may suggest something to a friend, and they may like, don't bother me with it. But they do think it. They may think about it. And then later on, we see they're doing it. It wasn't within them to acknowledge that what we were saying made sense. Or maybe they later on, they realized. But then you see they're changing, right? So we shouldn't be, we shouldn't think, oh, let me not suggest anything because the person won't accept it. Or maybe not right away, but who knows? What else here? So that verse from Bhagavad Gita that Srila Prabhupada quotes from the 9th chapter, text 5, which is that verse, Nacha matstani bhutani pashame yogamaishvaram bhutabrin nacha bhutasto mamatma bhutabhavana. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not part of this cosmic manifestation. For myself is the very source of creation. So the actual true theology is there in Bhagavad Gita. It's very clear. And Srila Prabhupada titled his translation Bhagavad Gita as it is. And we may remember in the introduction, he writes, or maybe the preface, that our presentation is to let the words of Lord Krishna come through as they are. We don't try and make it fit our mind. That, well, Kurukshetra means the body and the Pandavas are the 5 senses. And because sometimes when things don't sit well in our mind or we don't like them, and then we think, well, what if maybe they mean something else? Or I'd like them to mean something else. Something that makes more sense to me. Or I just like it better. So Srila Prabhupada says, our presentation is simply to present the words of Lord Krishna as they are. And if we want to ask questions, well, how can that be? What is that? Then we can ask. And well, there's logical reasoning like this. But to accept, just accept, it takes a certain, what they say, adhikari, qualification, that we have a sufficient piety. Lord Krishna says this, that we have accumulated enough pious credits, and our nature is sufficiently in sattva guna. In sattva guna, just like acting in sattva guna, means that we do our duty because it ought to be done, period. Just whether I'm going to get something, not get something, I have to do it. And so that applies in sattva guna to knowledge. That when we hear something from the Vedic scriptures of the Guru, we're able to accept it. It is emotionally, I may not like it. Within my heart, I don't think I like that. But in sattva guna, we understand what's happening, that on an emotional level, I'm having this reaction. But above and beyond all of that, there's truth. Just like our duty. But what's the example that's given? That it's who wants to cook in a hot kitchen in July or June? But who wants to get up at 1 a.m. after a long day and take care of the baby who's crying? I mean, emotionally, it's like, oh, but it's my duty. I must. So this is very, very important. This sattva-gun ability to separate or to see these two sides. Then on one side, I have my feelings, and then on the other side, I have reality. And they don't always match. And I need to be careful about that. There's a reason that we have feelings and we have opinions. And sometimes they interfere with really what we should be doing and the choices we should be making. Just the call in the classic example of the used car salesperson. And their mouth is saying so many things. They really want that commission. They may. I'm not saying that it's always like, but sometimes, for some reason, they really need the money. And so their mouth is going to start saying things. Oh, yeah, this is a good car. Oh, yeah, it'll last you a good while. Yeah, it's a good deal. Buy it. And their mouth is just saying things under the influence of their greed, or maybe their pressing need. But anyway, they're letting their feelings interfere with what they should be saying. It's a good car, but I think the transmission is going to break in 3 months. And they're just straight up. And I may lose the sale. But that's truthful. And just like sometimes we think, or someone may think, oh, what is this Hare Krishna? He can't drink and he can't smoke and all these. They're just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. So those are the feelings. And if we're not sufficiently in sattva guna or fixed in the wisdom of Krishna consciousness, then we won't stop ourselves. We won't realize that, boy, I must really be attached to drinking. Otherwise, why would my mind be having these thoughts? There's a reason my mind are having these thoughts. Because I'm really attached to doing that thing. Therefore, just like it said about the only people who criticize speed limit signs are people who have a burning desire to go faster. Otherwise, no one complains. I mean, we may intelligently, this is a little low. I mean, why is it only 20 kilometers an hour? It could be 35. Maybe some good reason. But so much of the time, it's due to Rajagun, Tamagun. It doesn't have anything to do with ourself, our soul. What's the best thing for ourself, our spiritual self. Very, like I share occasionally, when I was first reading Bhagavad Gita, the divine and demoniac natures, I thought, I shouldn't be here. This isn't for me. I'm a demon. And then I read a little bit further. No. Your mind, your psychic functioning is influenced by Raja and Tamagun, but it's not you. Oh, okay. And you can actually elevate even your material thinking, nature, to this sattva guna, and all of that will be reduced tremendously or go away. So, wow, that's pretty cool. A little humor. I think I shared this at one point way back. I was in some small center where brahmacharis would begin learning about bhakti and learning to distribute books. So the temple president, I heard him twice. Some young man, who had been there some months. It was like, I don't know about this, and how could Krishna do this, and how could he have so many different forms? And the leader would not even bother any kind of philosophy. Just, what's her name? How long has it been since you've seen her? There must be some reason that your mind is all of a sudden, you must really want to do something else. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, it could be genuine intellectual questions. But that other side is often That's all it is. As I shared, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about this, that there's really no such thing as atheists or agnostics, which really shocked me when I read it. What? And he said, no, that's not what's going on, really. It's not that they don't believe in God. They don't want to. If they really understood their own mind and they were very honest, those are the words that should really come out of their mouth. I don't want to believe. Just emotional stuff, so to speak, just the influence of past thinking patterns and desires, just interfering with simple logic and reason. I mean, it would be perhaps more honest if, for someone to say, like even scientists, that I really don't want to believe in God. I don't care what you say. I just, I think it might interfere with my life. It might interfere with the things that I value, and I wouldn't want to change. It just bothers my mind. I don't want to deal with it right now. Okay, thank you. Thank you for being honest. Really nice how you understand your own heart. Yeah. And sometimes we can even encourage someone that, yeah, it may be a little bit much to deal with right now, but just keep it in the back of your head, maybe in the future. And they're like, I don't have to become a Hare Krishna today. I don't have to change my religion. No, just keep it in your mind. And some people, that will be very helpful, even for ourselves. Maybe certain things that, I should really be doing this more strictly, or my mind doesn't quite accept all of this right now. Okay, just stay in touch, do what you can do, don't push yourself too much. Do the best you can. Because if people go away, or if we go away, then we're removed from the cleansing process, from the purifying. So that's very important, to keep ourselves and keep others that we care about in touch. As we often joke that, like for someone that's first introduced or first learning, don't think that you were at the bar last night and, well, I'm not going to go to the mandir. No, no, no. Take a shower, get cleaned up, go to the mandir. No problem. Don't think you have to be 100% tomorrow. No, 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 no. Otherwise, how will you make progress? And maybe some other humans might kind of look at you, but the main thing is, what is Krishna like? We are trying to please Krishna. So Krishna will be very happy to see you. Absolutely. Don't care what others think, or even what you think. Oh, I'm so fallen. I shouldn't even chant my round. No, whatever horrible thing you think you did, or you might have done, Krishna's happy. We get back on the horse. Keep going. So we'll stop here. Any questions or comments? Discussion?
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for today's session, and so many examples about the sun and the cow. I mean, all these are very important for us to know, so that when we are talking to other people, we can use these. So thank you for pointing them out to us. So when we argue with not argue, but when we try to talk about Krishna consciousness, and we meet them everywhere, at home with your husband or with your children. So these are very, very practical tips. At least it has helped me. I open it up for other questions or comments. Anybody with a question or a comment? If there are no questions or comments, can I request Doreen to end the session for today? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the lesson. We've really learned a lot. For that logic where you said there's nothing like atheist or gnostic. And then I was thinking, yeah, it's true. At some point, these people had came into contact with religion, but through their different interpretation, they stepped back and called themselves atheists, although it's against logic. So thank you so much for all the devotees who have joined us today. Let's all unmute and chant one Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in glorification of His Grace Dina Shrina Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Grantaraj Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananda Koti Vaishnavin ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, His Grace Dina Shrina Prabhuji ki jai, and Elder Yatra ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for this nice explanation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for allowing me to have your association. It's always a joy to come and visit and be with everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
I wish everyone
Prabhuji.
well
Usually
and the best.
Sunday I'm busy. I'm not. I'm in other classes today. I haven't been in your class for long. I just wanted to listen, hear your beautiful voice and your nice explanation. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
If there's ever some other type of classes that I might give, some other book, we may consider that.
What do you mean? Because we are doing
some other time, not this time.
Okay. So where you are based, Prabhuji, in UK?
Florida.
What is it?
In Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida. So same time zone. I